Remind everybody that certain topics of discussion may not be comfortable for all listeners. Certain viewpoints may not reflect those of our partners, sponsors, affiliates, our hosts, or that of our guests. We would like to encourage everybody to keep a respectful and open climate of discussion for all topics, no matter how disturbing they may be. So viewer discretion is advised.
It does not matter where you stand, nor what it is you feel is grand. Magic is all around. Magic is never gone. And it is more than you will ever know. Entrust us. Entrust her. For here you will find that the lost magics have never disappeared.
Hello guys, and welcome to our Friday night show. I am Sherry Brett, and this is our Bold and Bonkers show, The Lost Magics. So tonight I'm going to be bringing you the show where I am talking about Our Majesty Queen Elizabeth. We're going to be talking about her castles that are supposedly haunted. Now, I didn't realise that as many of her castles were registered to be haunted until I was actually looking through my research on that. So I've kind of covered it so that I do all of them. But at first it was going to be Buckingham Palace. So I am going to read you a little bit of history and information on that place because that is the Queen's main home, along with Windsor Castle, obviously. But then the other places that I've got, the other castles that belong to our Queen, is also in the list as haunted places as well. So I'm going to be reading a very small paragraph on that as well, guys. So I do hope that you enjoy. I have got a few pictures, so at some point after I've done the reading and whatever, and I go into that section, if Dakota could just put up the thing, and then I can just put the pictures up and you can see which places I'm actually reading about. So first I'm going to talk to you a bit about Buckingham Palace, guys, because that is obviously one of the well-known places for Queen Elizabeth to be known to air in. So that's going to be quite interesting. I want to do a big shout out to Bold and Bonkers Network, to DNTV, to all of the other networks, to our sponsors, our supporters, and obviously our TV people, and obviously all of our angels and our fam that are in the room and support us every day and make this possible. We love you all. So let's get into the show. So I'm going to read to you some of the information and stuff that I got through research about the Queen's palaces and their so-called hauntings. So first we're going to do a little bit of history on Buckingham Palace, as I told you, and then we'll go into the other parts. So Buckingham Palace is a palace and London residence of the British sovereign. It is situated within the borough of Westminster. The place takes its name from the house built in the 1705 for John Sheffield, Duke of Buckingham. It was bought in 1762 by George III for his wife, Queen Charlotte, and became known as the Queen's House by order of George VIII. John Nash initiated the conversion of the house into a palace in the 1820s. Nash also reshaped the Buckingham Palace gardens and designed the marble arch entryway, which was later removed in 1851. To the northeast corner of Hyde Park, the mall front, or the forecourt east side, was expanded in 1847 by Edward Bloor and was redesigned in 1913 by Sir Aston Webb as a background for the Queen Victoria Memorial statue. Nash's garden front's west side remained virtually unchanged. Victoria was the first sovereign to live there from 1837. Within the palace, the Queen's Gallery exhibits works from the royal art. Collections including fabric, eggs, and drawings by Leonardo da Vinci. The changing of the guards takes place regularly, generally every morning from May through to July and every other morning during the rest of the year, but the royal standard is flown over the palace only when the sovereign is in residence. Traditionally closed to the public, the state rooms of the palace were opened to tourists during August and September in the mid 1990s in order to finance repairs to Windsor Castle, which was damaged by a fire in 1992. Since the mid 18th century, the Royal Mews stable and coach horses were living quarters above have been located on the palace grounds. The current buildings date from 1824 to 1825. Within the mews are the luxurious motor cars, dozens of carriages and horses that figure promptly in the royal processions and ceremonies. Notable among the carriages are the gold stagecoach 1762, the Irish stagecoach 1852, and the glass stagecoach 1910. Sea otters are social animals that float on their backs in grounds called rafts to rest. Sometimes the grounds exceed 1,000 otters. Leading northwest from the palace and to the Queen Victoria Memorial, the straight avenue of the Mall divides St James's Park from the Green Park, skirts the grounds of St James's Palace, and eventually reaches the Admiral Arch getaway to Charing Cross. So that is the first bit. So that was a little bit about Buckingham Palace. Now, as we know, Buckingham Palace is the main residence that Queen Elizabeth II reigns in, and it is where past monarchs have also lived, including her father. Now, it is rumoured that this castle, this palace, whatever you like to call it, has got several ghosts in it. One of them being Queen Mary, the Queen of Scots. She's supposed to have been seen in this place with her head not on her shoulders because obviously she was beheaded. Apparently, Queen Elizabeth's father is supposed to be seen roaming these grounds as well. There is supposed to be a talk of another headless person, not quite sure on who that is. And there are several other spirits that are believed to belong to past royals that have been heir to this castle, along with many of the others that Queen Elizabeth II has. So now I'm going to go into the royal ghosts, which of Queen Elizabeth's palaces are haunted. Okay, so in this one, I do need to have the pictures brought up. So what I'm going to do is share a screen quickly, and then Dakota can just share it up for me. I'm not sure which one it is though. Nope. Yep. Okay. So I'm going to put this on. Can you put that onto big screen, Dakota, for just a minute so that I can just click through them? Sorry. Thank you. So this first castle is known as, excuse me a minute, I've got to get it up. She's got so many castles, I'm not sure which ones are going up. So keep that one up for there, and I can just go through them. So this one is Windsor Castle, guys. This is the Queen's, one of the Queen's main palaces. Okay, so I'm going to read you what it says about this place. Windsor Castle has made headlines in recent years for hosting royal weddings, but there may be Windsor Castle has made headlines in recent years for hosting royal weddings, but there may have been some spectres who weren't on the exclusive guest list. The royal residence is said to be haunted by many ghosts, including King Henry VIII, King George III, and even a young Grainder guard who shot himself on the long walk. But one spirit said to still be on the grounds is very familiar to Queen Elizabeth, and that is of her mother, the Queen Mother, who is said to roam the libraries in her hills, according to the Visit Britain. So obviously, as I said, there's been a lot of royals that have been within this residence. So some of the ghosts, royal ghosts that are said to be roaming, is obviously the Queen's mother, as it said, King Henry VIII and King George III. And there is supposed to be a young guard that obviously committed suicide by the sounds of it, that is also supposed to roam. But there are tales of sightings of other queens as well, such as Queen Mary and Queen Anne. These sort of spirits are supposed to be seen in these sort of residences as well. Obviously, all royal palaces and stuff are all linked to all royals. So the next one that I want to show you is Buckingham Palace. Now, Buckingham Palace is the main home of Queen Elizabeth II and has been home to many of the other royals. And this place is said to be very haunted. Now, this is definitely supposed to be haunted by many spirits, one of them being, again, the Mary Queen of Scots, and quite a few other familiar names that we would have learned through history. So the monarch's London residence has been in the royal family since 1703, but some of its ghosts date back to before that time. An enchanted monk is said to haunt the rear terrace where a monastery once stood. King Edward VIII private secretary is said to haunt it. Major John Gwynne is also said to have stayed in the royal residence, where he died by shooting himself after divorcing his wife. So these are some of the spirits that are said to be in that house. Now, according to some of these palaces just have the residents that just walk around. They do their everyday thing. They don't really make very much havoc to the royals. Then you've got some of the palaces that the Queen is in charge of that does have some more prominent activity, such as things like poltergeist activity and things like that. And it has been said and recorded that several of the royals of today, including Queen Elizabeth, has actually seen spirits within her residences. So that is really cool as well. So the next castle that I'm going to show you is Balmoral Castle. This is another residence of the Queen's. Very stunning again, but also a lot of history, a lot of past activity from other royals and people that worked with them. And this is said to, again, be rather haunted by some spirits of the past. Balmoral Castle. Balmoral Castle, Andrew Million. One of the most popular ghost stories of Balmoral Castle in Scotland, where Queen Elizabeth and the royal family spend their summer months. It is of John Brown. He was the servant and friend of Queen Victoria, with some stories saying they fell in love. Perhaps that's why he's still seen in the corridors wearing his kilt. Now, there was rumours that Queen Victoria did fall in love with somebody that was not of royal blood, and because of that, it obviously was looked against, and obviously his life ended, and obviously he's now said to still haunt this castle. It is said that Queen Victoria is supposed to haunt this castle as well, obviously seeking out the love of her life, the man that she was not able to marry because of him not being of royal ties. There are said to be other spirits that roam this castle as well, such as other royals that I have already mentioned in previous insights of this show. So Queen Anne and Queen Mary, King Henry. The next castle is Hampton Court Palace. So this is Hampton Court Palace, another residence of the Queen's and the royal family. And this is obviously another place of history where royals would have grown up, been taught, learned, and would have lived with other family members of the royal family. Obviously, again, lots of history, lots of things that have gone on within these walls, good and bad. So it's not surprising that this location, like the other ones, are haunted, because there is a lot of history there. So there's give you a bit of information on this one. Hampton Palace. Hampton Court Palace in London has many spirits, including at least two of Henry VIII's wives, Jane Seymour, his beloved third wife, dead at the palace just days after giving birth to her son. It's said a pale figure appears on the silver stick stairs, which led to the very room where she died. Henry's fifth wife, Catherine Howard, was beheaded for adultery in 1542. When she was 19, her ghost is said to repeat the moment when she was arrested and ran down the hall screaming for mercy. There are obviously other ghosts such as King Henry VIII. There are ghosts such as Queen Anne, Queen Mary. I would not be surprised if some of the more later residents of the royal family that have passed away, like the Queen Mother and the Queen's beloved husband, I'm sure that these spirits would be new traditions to the castle. I'm sure that Princess Diana's probably been seen in a few of these places as well. I know there have been records of sightings to do with us, so it wouldn't surprise me they would have gone to all of these palaces at points in their life for different reasons. So the next palace is Kensington Palace. This is Kensington Palace. Some of these palaces are more private and not very well known because they are places that the Queen doesn't very much announce when they're going to. They'll just go there privately. These are the sort of places where they just go to get away from everyday fixtures. If there's special events or anything that she needs to go to, she would go to these sort of places. Obviously, the main prominent ones are Windsor Castle and Buckingham Palace, and a couple of the other ones that I've mentioned. Then ones are more known, but as we're going through the list, they're getting more rare, but these are not very, very heard of, but these are all belong to Queen Elizabeth II and have belonged to many other royals and other residents that once had this place. So let's read you a little bit on this one. Kensington Palace has been used as a residence of the British royal family since the 17th century. So naturally, it has its fair share of phantom activity. There's Peter, the wild boy, Queen Victoria's aunt, Princess Sophia, and Queen Mary II, wife of King William III. King George II is also said to haunt Kate Middleton and Prince William's London home. At the time of his death in 1760, he was reportedly waiting for news from his troops during the Seven-Year War. He had said to have died staring out of the window, saying, "Why don't they come?" The tale says he's still asking to this day. So he's still said to be heard asking these very questions. Obviously, these other residents are supposed to be in there. Like I said, there probably are more up-to-date royals that go to this place as well. And obviously past royals as well from 17th, 18th century as well. These were only going to be short and sweet ones. I wasn't going to be doing massive ones. So your next place on the list is Frogmore Cottage. Now, if I am rightful to know, I'm sure Frogmore Cottage was actually one of the places where Prince Harry and Meghan actually resided in for a while. That was one of their places that they stayed in. Obviously, it is the royal home of the Queen. It is hers, but she does give certain buildings and certain palaces out to her royal family. So they do stay in these residences at different times, as it would have been like that in the past as well. So Frogmore Cottage, before Meghan Markle and Prince Harry settled in California, they moved to the UK countryside. Their home of Frogmore Cottage in Windsor is not far from the Royal Mausoleum, which holds the bodies of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. These will be other people that also haunt these castles. But these are two of the most prominent ones. Obviously, they had resided in this cottage at many occasions. It has been reported that strange activity went on while Meghan and Prince Harry were there, and while other royal family have stayed as well. But the most prominent are the Queen Victoria and Prince Albert, and obviously other royals will reside there as well. The next is the Tower of London, guys. Now, the Tower of London is very, very well known. Now, this is known not just as a home, but this was also a place where a lot of the royals would have been imprisoned when they had done things against their throne. So people such as Queen Mary of Scots, Queen Anne, and many other residents of the royal family have been confided to this location. Some of them have met very gloomy deaths. Some of them died while being in the walls, because it wasn't always necessary that somebody that was sentenced to be to death would actually be sentenced to death straight away. Sometimes they could have been there for years. Mary, Queen of Scots, was one. She was left in the Tower of London for many, many years until she became a middle-aged woman. And she was very young when she actually was imprisoned. So as well as this being a home, this is more known for imprisonment and things like that. And this place is said to be haunted by these such ghosts: Queen Anne, Queen Mary, Queen Victoria, even some of the past guards and soldiers that maybe worked within the royal family and protected the royal family. Obviously, the royals themselves that hadn't done anything wrong but resided in this beautiful building as well. So let's read you a little bit up on that. The Tower of London, though not a home, this fortress has housed many famous and gruesome royal deaths. Their most famous ghost is Henry VIII. Okay. Don't know what happened there. Was thought to be the house many famous and gruesome royal deaths. The most famous ghost is Henry VIII, Henry VIII's second wife, Anne Boleyn, who was beheaded in 1536 on the Tower Green. Her spirit is said to still stalk the execution site. There are also reports of Queen Mary and others that also are reported to be seen in this. As it is explained, even though it's classed as a royal home, it was mainly for imprisonment of royals that have gone against their throne, and or somebody that's married to a royal has gone against them. They would have been put into this castle, and they would have stayed there to wait their fate. The next palace is Palace of Holyrood House. So this is Holyrood House. This is one of the less known castles of Queen Elizabeth II and all of the other royals. So like I said, some of these homes are kept very secret. Some of these for the reasons that it is locations that they go to get away from paparazzi, get away from these sort of things, and just somewhere for them to be able to relax and to chill out and to be able to be themselves. But while being in these amazing homes that belong to them, they have witnessed quite a lot of phenomena. Now, if I am right, this one, there is supposed to have been records of some sort of poltergeist activity. Things are supposed to move around, doors and things are supposed to be heard opening and shutting. And things, I have done little bits of read up, but I haven't wrote them down in the paragraph. I'm just telling you them bits. But there is supposed to have been quite a few paranormal phenomena that goes on in these places, and especially in this one. So if I just read you out about this one. The Queen's official residence in Edinburgh, Scotland, has the site of a murder in 1566. Mary, Queen of Scots, had an affair with David Rizzio, and when her husband, Lord Darnley, found out, he ordered Rizzio to be killed, with the Queen watching while 7 months pregnant. Lord Darnley also died in the residence from a mysterious explosion, said to have been ordered by Mary in retaliation. Lord Darnley is believed to still haunt his old room. I'm sure that Queen Mary also does. Obviously, the man that she had the affair with as well. Obviously, other royals will be haunting this place. Also, what you've got to remember is before these castles came into the hands of the royalty, these lands would have just been land. They would have been fields and things like that. So you've got to think that there would have been other people that would have resided in these places before the castles were built and even came into existence. So you've got a lot of old history haunting as well, like residual hauntings and stuff. So cool. Because there would have been a lot of people that lived out on the land before the castles were there, and they would have done a lot of things. So not just the royal families haunt that place. I'm sure there are people of other walks that also haunt the castles for the very reasons of the land. They just don't realise the castle's there. So the next castle is Sandringham Castle. Another one. This is a very beautiful castle. To me, this looks very more modern and more up to date. Obviously not properly up to date, but it is more of a modern era. A very stunning building, like the last one. It's said to be rather haunted. Got several royal ghosts and other ghosts in it. Supposed to be quite a few different paranormal phenomena, such as poltergeist activity, voices, apparitions, things being moved, doors, things being opened. There's supposed to be a lot of stuff that happens in these buildings. The only problem is that we do not have that structure to be able to go in and investigate these places. Nobody is allowed to go into these buildings if you're not royal without being invited, and they most definitely do not allow you to go in and investigate these places. It's one of those things they don't like. I know that the Tower of London has had a few investigations and stuff. That's a little bit different. That's not, even though it's linked to the Queen and it belongs to the Queen, it's not somewhere that she lives. It's not somewhere where her and her family go and stay. So for that reason, she opens that to public. But all of these other houses, she don't, because they use all of these. This has to be kept secret and safe and secure, obviously, because of who they are. So let's read to you about the castle a little bit. Sandringham Castle. Queen Elizabeth and the royal family traditionally spend Christmas at Sandringham, but sometimes a poltergeist causes mayhem by sending cards flying, pulling baskets off beds, or playing with the lights. So there is meant to be a residence of poltergeists, so energies that are quite strong. Now these can be unhuman spirit, these can be human spirit. Okay, sometimes some family relatives can cause poltergeist activity. Obviously, for a lot of people, a lot of poltergeist activity is caused through spirits that are not known to be of the human nature, not necessarily demonic, but not human. Also, poltergeists are also supposed to be something that can be manifested by people through negative energies as well. So there could be a lot. If you think about it, all of the history and all of the things that these castles would see and encounter becomes a residual haunting. And in residual hauntings, a lot of poltergeist activity happens because it's where the activity of that time is being played out, which causes mayhem and mischief within the building. Okay, so this can cause poltergeist activity. Okay, it doesn't necessarily have to be a being, it can be a scenario, something that happened at that place as well. So, but it's mainly known for the poltergeist, and obviously, like I said, there will be other royals and people that would have resided there and stayed there that are no longer here, including people such as the Queen's husband and the Queen Mother, Princess Diana. You've got Queen Mary, Queen Anne. You know, I'm sure that they resided in these stunning buildings as well. The next castle is Anmore Hall. This is more of a smaller residence, but still pretty big compared to some of our homes. This is normally would be the sort of residence that maybe the Queen would put newlyweds in to the royal family and things like that. And this would be maybe where a few of them go to get away for a little bit and rest. It may be a place that they stay at when they've got places that they have to be, or meetings or things they have to go, and they have to go out of London. They would go and stay in these residences so that they've got their own privacy and their own safety. Now this is said to be haunted as well. A lot of the Queen's places are said to be really haunted. So Amber Hall, Kate Middleton and Prince William's country home was already occupied when they moved in by a Saint Henry Walpole, whose family once owned the Norfolk estate, and he was tortured and killed at the Tower of London for his cannibalism. He seemed to have returned home after death, with his spirit being seen roaming the grounds. So the main spirit that's known to be here is Saint Henry Worlop. Okay, and obviously his family resided there with him as well at this Norfolk estate. So it's going to be him, and it's going to be his wife and his children, and their outlaws that obviously were with them as well. So these sort of people will be haunting this place, as well as I said, up to date royals and past royals as well. The next and the last one is St. James's Palace. Okay, guys. So this is an old picture. Now this palace has been resided in by most of the royals. This has got a lot of history and background due to the place that it is. There has been a lot of fond memories. There's been a lot of very negative and energies in here and memories as well. Um, this was also a place where people would have been held and kept under arrest and under watch, especially if you're royal. So what's this one say? St James's Palace, built by Henry VIII in the 1530s, St James's Palace was home to king and queens for 300 years. One apparition said to appear there is of a royal valet, Joseph Sellis, who appears with a slit throat. Now, it's said that he committed suicide or he was murdered. Okay, now this place in this castle goes back 300 years and is in the history of being one of the main and known places for royals to have lived for 300 years, including our queen and everything today. So, you know, this place um, has somewhat changed appearance to what it probably looks like in this picture. It probably looks completely different, but there is not an up-to-date picture of it. But again, it is another home to the Queen. Whether that is a big place or it's been broke down and it's something else, this is said to be haunted by Joseph Sellis. This is also supposed to be haunted by a number of royals, and there's be honest, there's been quite a few royals. So and what you've got to remember, it's not just the queens and kings themselves, it's going to be their outlaws children. All of these would be classed as royals. Okay, once you marry into the royal family or you are of royal blood, all of your family are. So it just means that you go way back. So 300 years of history. As I said, good and bad things happened here. So it's said that he still appears and he's seen with a slit throat. So I'm sure that all of the other activities and stuff that goes on in this castle are very prominent. I know that there is a bit of information that was said that this place, like several of the others, very much witness the paranormal phenomena to the points of poltergeist, full apparitions, voices, random music playing from nowhere, um, you know, lights anomalies and all sorts of things are supposed to happen in this location as well as in all of the other locations. Now, even though the castles are not spoke about very much about being haunted, they are said to be very haunted. These ones that I've read out to you, there have been many royals that have experienced paranormal activity over the years, including our queen today. And these places, even though they are very stunning and very beautiful, they have got a lot of history, good and bad. And it really doesn't surprise me that these places are haunted, okay, because of the places that they are, who they belong to, the history. Not only that, you've got what you've got to remember with these places. This would also have been places where people that worked for the royals would have come and spoke about situations coming, things such as wars and all other things. So all of this energy stays within the walls. Okay, so this is why history plays itself out in buildings and stuff like that. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, you can probably agree that the stories behind them are fascinating. Based on the real life stories, often of people who lived a difficult existence, there's always a human side to these creepy tales. The Ghosts of Buckingham Palace is certainly no exception. The royal residence in central London has been standing since 1703, when it was built for the Duke of Buckingham. Although this site has been home to impressive buildings for a lot longer than that, for instance, the Manor of Edbury stood there in the Middle Ages. So the site has a long and varied history stretching behind it, and many people have lived and died there. At one stage, there was a monastery on the site, specifically spaced at the back terrace of what's now one of the Queen's homes. The massive London home that the Queen would probably live in instead of Buckingham Palace if it hadn't have been destroyed by the huge fire. It is said that a monk now haunts this area of the palace. He can be seen wandering around in chains and wearing brown coal that he died in. Apparently, he's the ghost of monk who died in a punishment cell at the monastery hundreds of years ago. Now he is trapped, wandering around the palace for eternity. Now it was said that this monk went against his faiths by falling in love. I think that is what the story is supposed to be. There's a lot of these stories behind these sort of residences and stuff like that, but apparently this monk fell in love and treasoned, and for that reason he was killed at the punishment, which was at the monasteries. And this was hundreds of years ago, as it said. So Buckingham Palace is a very interesting place, and it's got a lot of history. So not just history from the royal families themselves and all of that, but also royals from the past and other people that have been confined and known for having stories there. Now, as well as having the stories of the ghosts and that, it's said that in a lot of these residences as well, things such as horses and ghost horses and ghost horse and carts are supposed to be heard pulling up. One of them being the cart of Queen Anne Boleyn, when she was trying to escape from her execution. She had gone to one of her properties, and it said that to this very day, sometimes you will hear the horse and cart of her pulling up and what sounds like her getting out and running. And this is said to happen in a lot of these residences and these castles that belong to the Queen as well, that these strange phenomena happen, headless horsemen and things turning up. There's meant to be a lot of stuff that goes on in Buckingham Palace itself as well. On the main hall that's very long, it's said that's where you will see Queen Mary, the Queen of Scotland. Apparently she's seen with her head in her arm, and she's walking at first and then starts running, and you can hear a piercing scream, which would have been her when she was being took out to the gallows to be beheaded. So there are a lot of fascinating hauntings from royals, and there's a lot of fascinating hauntings from normal everyday spirits that maybe are connected to the grounds that these stunning castles are on as well. But all of these are residents and homes to Queen Elizabeth II. The only one that is not a home is obviously the Tower of London. So this was my show. I don't know if any of you guys have got anything to say. Let me just bring that down now so we can go back to normal. So yeah, that was the stuff that I had read out. It's very interesting because a lot of these buildings that I'd spoke to you about are not known because, like I said, they are royal. They are made to be secret so that other people can't find them. But there is most definitely a lot of history and a lot of paranormal history that apparently goes on there. Past deaths, past murders, people ending their lives, people that have gone out to war and not come back, but that was their home. You know, that there are so many reasons to why these stunning buildings would be haunted. And even up to today, you know, the royals have, experienced several sad deaths in their family of some very important and very special royals. So it would not surprise me that they haunt the places as well. Most definitely, these places would have left a lot of fond memories as well as not so fond memories, And these places were their homes. These places were what they knew. Um, being a royal resident and somebody that is of royal blood, there is always a category of where you live. You do not choose your homes. When you become royal, and you are of royal blood, your homes are chose for you. Okay, you have a procedure and a way to follow. And back in the olden days, if you done a lot of the bad stuff that they would get away with today, you would have been beheaded and things like that. But in these days, not so much. It's just going to the court, getting your hands or your wrists slapped, sometimes even getting it overturned, So it's not as morbid, but there are still things that are dodgy that go on between the royal families and that. And I'm sure a lot of this resides in these buildings and will stay in these buildings for many years. Like, it was just a short and sweet show, to be honest, guys. I didn't want it to be a really long one where it goes on and on and on. I just wanted to give you information on the castles that belong to the Queen that are said to be haunted, give you a little bit of back history about it and the spirits that are supposedly meant to haunt it, give you a little bit of information on Buckingham Palace itself, because that is the main residence of the Queen. And obviously the last part that I read to you as well was about Buckingham Palace as well. Now, in all fairness, like I said, it doesn't surprise me these places are haunted, because London itself is supposed to be one of the most haunted locations in the world as well. So much history, so many things that have happened within London itself, that it really does not surprise me, the hauntings and stuff that go on everywhere. But most definitely does not surprise me the hauntings that go on in the castles, and that there is just far too much history and far too much that's happened for them not to be. It's just that with these people being royal, they just choose to not really talk about this sort of stuff, and they most definitely do not accept people to come in and investigate and try to find out what's going on. It's not allowed. It's part of the rules of being royals. You do not let anybody from the outside in unless invited for a good reason. So if you've been a normal person and you've saved somebody's life, or you've done something and you gain a reward from the Queen, then you will visit one of her places to be rewarded. But you don't get to go around the full grounds. You don't get to see the whole place, just the place where they would hold the ceremonies and stuff like that. The castles are very much kept away from the public eye, and it's only on very special occasions we may see a fraction of one of these castles inside, because it's all kept very secret for a very good reason, obviously. So I hope that you did enjoy the show, guys. Obviously, tomorrow and Sunday, the Bold and Bonker lads have got their shows at 10 p.m. UK time, guys. So please do not miss both of those shows on Saturday and Sunday. They are going to be absolutely awesome. I have got my show with DNTV on Sunday at 7:30, where I will be showing the interview that I had with Emma Louise from the other week when she was on the show on Saturday, talking about her haunted hotel and home. So please tune in to see the pre-record of that. Then obviously the following week, guys, again, it goes back to the week again. So then obviously Wednesday will be my show with DNTV, which will be at 10:30. That's either paranormal or it's a chat or something. Thursday is going to be DNTV again. That is just the facts show. That's just an half an hour show where I just do some useful and fun facts and give you guys a bit of a laugh and happy time, or play music, one or the other. And then obviously I've got my Bold and Bonkers show next week as well. If I remember rightly, I think I have got an interview next week So there will be an interview on next week, and that is going to be at 9:30, guys, on Lost Magics on here. Then the boys will be on over the weekend on the Saturday and Sunday at 10 p.m. UK time, and obviously I will have my DNTV again show at 7:30, guys. Okay, so where I will probably on that week find another topic to talk about, or I will do some music, because I think it'd be really nice to bring some beautiful shows and beautiful music out. Wizard Table next week. That's awesome. Wizard's Table is on next week as well. I know that I have definitely got somebody on for an interview. It's like, I know it's not I don't know if it's Ken and that. Let me have a look. Yeah. Next Friday should be Ken and possibly Mistress B coming up for an interview and talk. They are these guys that do satanic stuff, that they're known to do satanical stuff, but they do it in a completely different way to what we have been perceived to know it of. So it's going to be really interesting to have these guys come up and talk to you and help you guys to understand about that. Yeah. I've got so many shows and stuff going on at the moment. My head's all over the place. Like literally, I've got shows here, there, and everywhere going. But yeah, Wizard Table, which is Ken. And then we have got UFO Man the following week. So they should be really, really good shows. So I hope that you are going to join me on them. And obviously, like I said, tune in to all of the DNTV shows, all of the Bold and Bonkers shows, guys, please. A big shout out to all of the sponsors, TV workers, and all of the people that help us to put our shows up there and do what we do. And thank you to all of our amazing fam that come in our rooms and support us as well. Obviously, as well, I just wanted to say quickly, hang on a minute. It's gone out of my head now. UFO Man, and I can't remember what else I wanted to talk to you about. But yeah, no, they are the shows that we've got coming up, guys. That's it, right? Obviously, as you know, guys, we have got now a TikTok for Bold and Bonkers, guys. It's called We Are Light. Okay, please go over there. Anybody that's had any experiences with UFOs, extraterrestrials, if you've got any stories of abductions or stories of seeing these beings, then you can come over to us. You could maybe make a 3-minute video and send it over to us to put up onto the channel. You could be part of our documentaries that are going to be coming out that Dakota and Chris will be sorting, or you could even come and join me or the guys on an interview, guys. I would very much appreciate that. And we do hope that you will go over and check the TikTok channel out. There are 2 videos up there at the moment that are doing really well. And this is one of the places that we are planning to put a lot of these videos and stuff out, so that we can reach out to more people that have had these experiences. There are some amazing and huge known guests coming up onto Bold and Bonkers, which you are going to be seeing over the next couple of months. And guys, believe me, you're not going to want to miss the shows with the lads and with us. It's going to be absolutely awesome. Keep a check out for the Smith family's shows as well, guys. So, but from me, I am going to wish you all a very good night. I hope that you have a blessed night. Be real, be true, and be safe. And remember that you're special. And thank you for supporting us all. And I will see you very soon. And a merry parting, my angels. And see you all very, very soon. Stay spooky.
1